Hey, what's going on YouTube? Thanks for joining me here on Exploit Security. I am your host CyberMunky, and this YouTube channel is all about documenting my journey to earning the OSCP. In the previous weeks, we've been going over HacktheBox challenges, which offers a variety of machines that you can work to exploit and practice your privilege escalation. Today we're going to be doing the same, and we will be going over Bash, which is one of HTB's retired machines. Overall, I would rate this easy. Of course, that varies depending on the user actually working on it and the current knowledge that you have. What might be easy for me might be a little bit harder for you, and vice versa. It just depends really, because there's so many aspects to pen testing and exploitation of machines. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So before we get into it, let me just give you a quick peek of Bash pulled up in the URL, or Bash pulled up on the web browser. You can see here there's not really a whole lot going on. And then we can show you the scans that I ran as well. So I usually run the same standard scans. I start off with the default SYN scan, which goes over the top or first 1,000 ports. And it just returned as a result port 80 open on HTTP, which is what eventually led us to here, of course. Next we ran the heavy scan. That's just a SYN scan across all of the ports. I just call it heavy. Same thing, it only returned port 80 for HTTP. So we went ahead and followed that up with a version detection and OS detection, which resulted in an Apache 2.4.18, and then we closed it up with a U. So these are typically the only scans that I really run by default. These are my standard set of scans that I run. Of course, if I need to get into script scanning, I add them to the cherry tree as I do them. But I've noticed more than anything, these four are really all I do need to run to be able to get my foothold in. So it works for me. Of course, as we progress and my experience grows, maybe I might do a different set of scanning techniques, but we'll see. For now, this is what works. So let's jump back over to the browser. I gave you guys a quick show already, but you can see here, this is Bash pulled up in the browser. You can try navigating manually, doing a bit of recon, nosing around. There's not a whole lot going on. Most of the features don't actually work. You can select PHP Bash in bold, and it'll bring you to a secondary page, which gives you a couple screen grabs, and then just gives you a short little description of a tool called PHP Bash that he uses on different servers, and you can find it here on GitHub. So the next thing I did was, of course, I opened up a web scanner, which in this scenario I use Derb. Derb has been working pretty well to me. I use the common text file or the big text file, and I've had a lot of success with those two. So you can see here, we kind of went through these. It luckily didn't take me long to find something juicy to really get to, which is right here, the dev. So I'm going to go on and copy that. I'm going to paste it in so I can show you. Once it loads, you'll notice that there's two PHP files in there. One is phpbash.min.php and the other is phpbash.php. So this looks like the tools that he was talking about. So of course, select them. I'm curious, so I go on and jump in. Once you do, it opens up a terminal within the browser itself, and here you can start running your commands and start trying to figure out where you are and get as much information related to the machine as possible. So as you can see, print working directory, sudo l. So sudo l was interesting. It did show that script manager can run commands, all commands with no password required. So we're going to keep that in mind. The next thing we want to do is, I do know, and I always kind of do this when I first enter in to see if I can get an easy grab, but we know that the flag for the user is, under user.txt. So let's go on and see if we can find that. I think I entered in the redirection command for arrow wrong. That's fine though, we can just jump through here. After you scroll through this mess, hopefully you ran the command correct. After you scroll through this mess, you'll notice you come across this one, which is a user text file within Orexel, the user Orexel itself. So let's go ahead and copy that, and then we're just going to see if we can take a peek at it. And once you enter in that, you'll notice that right off the bat, you get the flag for the user Orexel. So right now we do have the flag for Orexel for Bash, but the goal is to go for root. So let's see if we can find root. I'm going to show you what I did to get root. I did look at a few of the walkthroughs after I got the exploitation, and there's a lot of different ways that they went through, and I noticed that I had tried some of them. For example, I tried to use wget and a simple HTTP server, Python, to bring in an exploit and see if I could run that. I really didn't have too much success with that. I did notice on some of the walkthroughs afterwards that other people did have success with it, so maybe I was making a mistake. It looked like I wasn't when I followed along on the other walkthroughs, kind of read through them to see what they did. So I had to find an alternative to actually get the flag for root. So I end up kind of nosing around, peeking through, and it eventually led me to a scripts directory. You can see it right here, scripts. It's definitely interesting. So of course I wanted to take a look at that. You can see here that we can read. So let's see, let's run ls and then lsa for scripts. Cool, so we do have a test.py file and a test.txt. Hopefully when I reset the server, it reset this program as well, but let's find out just in case. All right, so we got a permission denied. Remember what I showed you when we ran that sudo l command? We could run all commands as script manager with no need for a password. So holding that in mind, let's go on and run the sudo u command as script manager. You can also see there that you can also see up top the script manager is the owner of this. So I'm feeling good about this. So we're going to go on and run that. All right, so looking at that test.py file, you can see here that it opens test.txt, it writes testing 1 2 3, and then it goes ahead and closes it. So let's go on and take a look at that test.txt just to confirm what we think is happening. And we can see in there it's testing 1 2 3 whenever we take a look at the contents of it. So next, let's go on and see if we can change the permissions on that script directory so we can actually access it. All right, so we changed the permissions on the directory itself, so we are able to get in. Now we're going to do the same thing for that test.py. So I'm not going to sit here and take the whole process to show to you, but when I was kind of doing my nosing around, if you notice down at the bottom, it gives a readout here for that test.txt. It gives a readout of 1726. So I'm going to show you after I change the permissions on this, but take note of that. So it says 1726 right now, so just keep an eye on that. What we're going to do is we're going to change the permissions on that test.py. Now watch that time again. Let's see if it's updated. Notice how it says 1727. So it looks like every minute there's probably some type of cron job that's executing that test.py. And what it's doing is it's writing that testing 1, 2, 3 into that test.txt every minute or so. And we can confirm that it still says testing 1, 2, 3. It does. So we can find a way to leverage that to our benefit. It's just how. There are a couple options that we can do here. Since I'm still learning, I decided to play around with the easiest options that I could think of, and it turned out that it worked. So that's why I say the level's pretty easy going through. It didn't really require anything too complex, and I'm actually going to show you what I did. So just to run the ls command again, and there you go. You can see it was updated again at 1728. So we're at this point, we're confirming that it's updating about every minute or so. So with that thought process in mind, we do know that there's probably a cron job running through executing that test.py. That test.py will execute the commands within there itself, which is to open up test.txt, write testing 1, 2, 3, and then close it. So in this case, we're going to try to leverage test.py to our advantage. And we're going to do that by importing the OS into this Python program. So let's go ahead and see if this works. All right, so we are able to now write commands within it. So next we're gonna go ahead and import the rest of that, those Python commands in there so that we can utilize that to our advantage. So let's go ahead and do that. And then we're going to have it write to a directory that we know we can access without any issues. So we're going to write it to temp, and we're going to name it rootflag.txt. And then we're going to go ahead and append that. Make sure you append it so it doesn't overwrite the import OS. We're going to append it to the test.py. And there you go. So wait about a minute or so. Shouldn't take too long. Like I said, it looks like this job's running every minute, but then we should be able to jump right over. So we'll just give it a minute and then we'll jump over. So I did try to execute it on my own. And we got the permission denied. But after the minute or so, let's go on and change over to temp. Run the ls command to list their directory contents. And there you have it. There is the text file for root flag like we created. So if this all works out, we should definitely have the flag camping out within there. So let's go on and take a look. And there you have it. So relatively quickly, we found the flag for both the user Rexel and for root itself. Of course, it took me a little bit longer going through to actually exploit it on my first go around. I would recommend to you that if you are following along, just follow up to where you were stuck and then try to take it on your own. And then if you get stuck again, certainly jump back over to the video and check it out. Hopefully you guys can get some value from these and it helps you out along the way. I know that from time to time, I do need to reach out to help. I'm not an expert, so I'm still learning as well. So when I reach out for help or ask people for hints, I usually just ask them just to give me enough to get over the first hump or to confirm, something I'm suspecting or to ask a question. So I recommend you do the same. You guys can find me on Discord as well. So if you are there, definitely check it out. Yep, so I'll actually I can't remember my tag for Discord, but I'll actually share it in the next video. You guys can find me on Discord. I am in the HTB channel for Discord itself. So you guys can find me there kind of floating around, always willing to learn. So if you guys have any advice, if you guys are more experienced than me, I'm definitely into building up something stronger of a community. So by all means, go on and find me there. I am on Twitter as well at CyberMunky1. So you can find me there as well, and I'll make sure to share that along the way also. So definitely check me out, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we are going to be posting some more in the near future. I'm trying the best I can to at least post one video weekly. That's all dependent on how much I'm struggling over the machines. But if you guys do like the content, I ask that you like, share, and subscribe. It definitely helps build up my user count list, and the more support I get kind of encourages me to go through. Regardless, I'm still going to keep posting the videos. I like keeping track of everything I'm doing. I think it'd be interesting for me to kind of peek back on a year or 2 years from now just to see how far I've progressed and see where I'm struggling at, and see like how much or how easy I kind of cook through those issues that I'm struggling with. And I just like documenting that journey. So if you guys benefit from this, please like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for your time, and I'll catch everyone in the next video. Later.